This meeting of the Littleton Licensing Authority will come to order. Michelle, would you take the roll, please?
Authority Member Bradish.
Present.
Authority Member John Cole. Authority Member Gunya.
Here.
Authority Member Price.
Here.
Authority Member England.
Here.
Authority Member Odell.
Here.
Authority Member Andrew Cole.
Here.
Thank you.
Who gets to vote since we're missing one?
It would be Donovan.
So Donovan
Get the
votes
vote this
today.
time. Thank you. Next item of business is approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. Do I have a motion that we approve the minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the meetings of April 13th, 2011.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Next item of business is the approval of tonight's agenda. I move that we approve the agenda for this evening's meeting.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Agenda is approved. Next item of business is item 10A, Delvecchio's Littleton LLC. We have some exhibits that I think we should have a motion to admit at this time.
We have Exhibit A, waiver of hearing and objections to process by which neighborhood boundaries and public hearing dates are set. Exhibit B, affidavit of posting of premises. Exhibit C, proof of publication. Exhibit D, liquor authority communication with attachments. Exhibit E, petition information. And Exhibit F is the sign-in sheet.
I'll make a motion that we accept Exhibit A through F.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
At this time, we would invite Delvecchio's Littleton to come forward and state your case.
Hello.
Your name, please?
Annie Vick.
Vic, thank you.
Just for the record, would you spell your last name, please?
V-I-C-K.
Thank you.
You may proceed.
Okay. So we're opening Delvecchio's on Littleton Boulevard. I've been in the business. I opened my first restaurant in 2003 under the name of Pinocchio's, and I've been doing that steadily, nonstop since. I hold 2 other liquor licenses at the moment and haven't had any violations in the 8 years that I've been in business. Our restaurant is mainly based on food. Our concern is serving great Italian food. Our guests seem to want to have a glass of wine or cocktail when they arrive, so that's why we're here getting a liquor license. If I could do it without one, I would, but the public seems to want to have a glass of wine or something with their meal. Our dining room's going to seat about 150 people. We will have a patio. We're still working with our architect on designing how we're going to enclose that area, but there's lots of windows in the restaurant so we can see what's going on out front. And we will have service out there as well, so people will have to come into the restaurant to be seated, and then the guests will be seated outside. We'll be open every day of the week, open at lunch at 11 o'clock, dinner going till probably about 10, and then we'll do weekend breakfast starting at 9 a.m. I was asked to tell the difference between what we do and some of the other businesses in the area. I think we're all trying to create a benefit for the community, a nice place to go. We pride ourselves on the service that we offer, real family friendly, as well as later in the evening, adults can enjoy their dinner without kids interrupting. We just want to make the community better, and it looked like Littleton needed a really good Italian restaurant. So that's why we're
When do
here.
you plan to open?
We're hoping for the end of the month, actually May 31st. We just talked about.
Memorial Day weekend?
Yeah, Tuesday after Memorial Day. Thought it'd be a nice quiet day to open. And we like to open real quietly, get all the kinks worked out. And if we don't have our liquor license for whatever reason, we're happy to open without it.
So you will have a full bar?
Yes.
Mixed cocktails as well as wine and beer and,
Yeah.
okay. Before we proceed, anybody else have any questions?
Is that the old Crestwood?
It is,
Okay.
yeah.
The patio area, you said you're working on how you'll enclose it. Would you be serving out there before you enclosed it, or?
No.
Okay.
No, we'll get that all figured out. There's a lot of landscaping, so we're hoping to incorporate that as part of it. And then just creating, partitions that aren't too obtrusive, but it's almost really nice out there with the landscaping, so we're hoping to work that into it.
So you're going to leave the interior pretty much the way it has been? As I looked at your floor plan, and I don't see much change from the way it used to be.
Yeah, we're trying to keep the very front third real similar to the way it looked. We're lightening and brightening everything up. We use linen on the tables. And then the back 2/3, we opened up to create more of a room that we could use for big private parties. And we're going to use furniture to kind of create little nooks and make it a little more intimate if we use it for regular seating.
I am curious, your record speaks for itself with having no violation in that many years, yes? But I was curious what type of training, if any, you have for the waiters, waitresses that are going to be serving alcoholic beverages.
Absolutely. We're still in the process of hiring, and once we get our crew together, we're probably going to go with Oedipus. They have a training. If not, we'll find somebody that's certified to do that. And we continually talk about it. At our nightly meetings, we talk about how important it is to watch for somebody that looks like they may have been overserved already, so they come in intoxicated. We rarely serve more than 2 drinks to a person. So if somebody goes for a 3rd drink, it's pretty much everybody knows about it. Very conscious about, over-serving and serving to minors. We're constantly monitoring, did you ID that person, that kind of thing. So it's constantly something, even after the training, it's something that we talk about constantly.
Yeah, thank you.
You mentioned in your application that Perry Watkins will be the manager.
Yes.
Will Perry be there at all hours that you're open, or will you fill in for part of it? How will
I'm
you
going to be
cover it?
there a lot, but I figured with that size of space, we're going to need some extra help. So neither one of us will probably be there 24/7, every hour of every day that we're open, but one of us will be there, and hopefully we'll get some sleep in there sometime.
Well, you understand the main consideration that the authority looks at is are the needs being met in the community, and are the residents and businesses in the community in favor of this business? And I think you have a presentation to make regarding that.
Yeah, we have the gentleman that did our petitioning. He's
Okay,
here.
if we don't have any further questions before that, we can get right into that.
Okay, perfect.
Well, I can hit a couple questions right now. I understand the Colorado Bureau of Investigation report has not come back yet. I understand there are no conflicts or complications. I assume you have a Colorado driver's license?
Yes.
You did not put it on your
Oh,
application.
I didn't?
You made note that you had one, however, in the block where it is required to put your driver's license number. We appreciate it. Complete that block. You can do it at any time. Now, you still own 2 places, up in, one in Longmont and one in Firestone?
Yes.
You own those?
I've owned the one in Longmont, I'm in my 8th year, and the one in Firestone, we opened in November.
And what kind of training did you provide for them?
The same kind of training. We had somebody come in and do on-site training, and then we do continuous training.
You plan to do the same thing here?
Absolutely.
For your other restaurants, What's your policy on who you ID? Is there an age, or do you ID everyone?
Well, we say 40 and under. I think after 40, it's just kind of silly. But we tell our servers that you're responsible. So we say 40 and under, but if you feel like you need to ID them, then you go ahead and do that.
Now, I understand on your bank account associated with it, you have Rod Vick as a person also, but he has no interests or will not benefit from this at all, is that correct?
Well, that's my husband. So he was on the bank account, but he's not involved in running the business. Yeah.
Now, your manager that you listed is Perry Watkins. You planning for him to be the sole manager, or?
He's going to be one of the managers. I think we'll have probably assistant managers that help in the dining room, but he will be the main bar manager.
Does he have any background, or is he present?
You know, he was stuck in traffic. There he is. He made it out of traffic. He's worked for us in Longmont, and somebody had asked me about his prior experience, and I'm not quite sure about that.
Well, maybe he could speak to it.
Okay.
Is there any other questions for Mrs. Vick?
I have one question. On the floor plan, you show a bar area, but that's not going to be a sit-in bar area. That's going to be just where the servers go to get.
There's a bar that has 8 to 10 seats at it,
Okay.
and there are tables in that area, but the tables are going to be, they're going to be seated as dining room tables.
Okay.
So it's not like a cocktail lounge, it's more like just that service bar, and then the rest of the tables are for dining.
And in terms of size, is this the largest of the 3 restaurants
You know,
have?
Longmont's really close. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I propose we hear from Perry Watkins, the manager, and then we hear the survey, and then we may call Mrs. Vick back.
Would you like to see a
I don't have a problem
menu?
with that. Did you have,
Can I bring these up and hand one out to you?
Oh, the menu?
Yeah.
Please do.
Yes, please.
you didn't bring any samples
You
of
don't have
food,
to be
did you?
sworn in, Perry.
Thank you.
No.
Would you state your name for the record, please?
Perry Blake Watkins.
Thank you.
For the record, would you spell your last name?
Watkins.
And I understand you plan to be the manager of the restaurant.
Yes.
Your background related to alcohol is, or alcohol serving or managing the distribution of alcohol? If you could please tell us what that is?
I have done servicing with restaurants, but I haven't served any alcohol in the past. But I've worked in restaurants, but I haven't served any alcohol, so.
Have you had any training on alcohol and the distribution of it?
Not yet. I'm relying on Annie to train me, yes. I have extensive management background, but nothing in as far as that goes right at this point.
I would emphasize, as you go into training, to pay strict attention, because
Absolutely.
violations could result in suspension or the license being revoked.
I understand that completely, yes. And I understand it's very difficult, so, yeah. It won't be taken lightheartedly, that's for sure.
We enjoy seeing you here this evening, but we hope we don't see you in the future.
Oh, no, it's not my plan, that's for sure. Okay.
Any other questions for Mr.
You're
Watkins?
managing the Longmont restaurant
I've been
now?
working up there as a host right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I live here. I currently manage 100 apartments over at Broadway and Littleton Boulevard. And I also sell windows and doors and manage that also. So this is an exciting time for me. Very exciting. Oh, that's good.
We don't have any further questions for
Oh,
you.
well, then I'll just get out of there.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Howdy. Are there new people on the Liquor Authority, at least two? No, one? You get old and you
I
forget.
recognize you, so I'm not new.
My name's Max Scott. I own and operate Oedipus Incorporated. We're professional surveyors. And we're also certified as a vendor with state liquor enforcement. Maybe I ought to talk about that first. Liquor enforcement's term for a certified trainer is called a vendor. Why, I don't know. But there are certain training topics and procedures that they require. We submitted all of our training materials, and this has been some time ago. We've been doing training for about 30 years, and recently they started this vendor certification, I'm going to say maybe 8 years ago, 6 years ago. And so we are certified. If you go to the website, you'll see that. And we also do training in Spanish. My wife's a professional translator, and she's multi-dialectical. She can pick up the phone and call somebody in Venezuela and then switch and call them in Mexico, which is what she used to do with a company that she worked for that did a lot of oil contracts.
Is that Tina?
Pardon me?
Is that Tina?
Yes, Tina Latina. Who kind of fools everybody because she's blonde. But her dad was a Navy lifer and was stationed at Puerto Rico for an interim and when she was a young adult, and that's where she learned Spanish. So we go to the site. It's on-site training. It takes about 4 hours. And then they have to pass a test at the end, and it covers all classes of all licenses, because you may see a 14-year-old kid toting a six-pack up to the cash register at Safeway, which is legal if they have an 18-year-old supervisor, but in this setting with an H&R license, they can't touch any alcohol containers at all. So we go over the differences in the various types of licenses, common violations that we've seen over the years, how to prevent those violations, how to take an ID without getting into a fisticuffs with the customer, and so on and so forth, hands-on ID, checking with exemplar false IDs, and so on and so forth. So we're available for that if they would like us to do it, and because they retained us on the petitioning, they get a discount. They can also pack the room if they want. They could get the employees from their other restaurants. We could have just one big training session, I don't know if that'll work or not, for the same price. With that, we were retained by the applicant to do a survey, and since there is a new person on the Liquor Authority, I'll toot my horn for just a second. We're in our 43rd business year. We've done approximately 6,000 surveys in the state of Colorado. We've had numerous contracts with municipal jurisdictions, to include Littleton. Long ago, when they passed the massage parlor license, we were hired through Larry Berkowitz to survey on some parlor applications. In other words, we did the survey for the city. We were also under contract with Inglewood for a while, Broomfield. We have an ongoing contract with Westminster and Wheat Ridge, and we were retained to do the new Performing Arts Center in Parker. We've also been published on several Rule 106 decisions and decisions that weren't published. With that, do you folks have a copy of the report? Looks like you do. We prepared the petitioning materials after communicating with the city clerk's office. Thank you very much for your help. And on page 5 of the report is the designated neighborhood, and this was the top document on the clipboard. That was followed by one of two sets of party and interest petitions, business owners or managers or residents of the defined neighborhood. So we generated a petition format, and if you had occasion to see it, the format allows a person to sign for or against, and then we encourage them to write in a reason. More commonly, it's the people that are against that write in the reason, and then we analyze those based on our understanding and involvement in Colorado case law. Then we had a briefing sheet, and the briefing sheet essentially said what you've already heard in terms of testimony. Generically what a hotel restaurant license is, and then what this license is all about. And on restaurants, when you talk to people, they want to know two things: what's the menu and when's it going to open? So we had a summary of the menu and the days and hours, and also included information about the the patio and interior seating and so on and so forth. Then we had what we call a stat sheet to record refusals and not at homes, and we go back to some of those, not all. I should also remark on the petition format, which is copyrighted, there is a statement as to why the survey is being conducted, and then says if you have any complaints about us or you need additional information, it provides a city clerk's name and telephone number. With that, that kind of covers page 1 of the report. Under item number 1, we're reporting to the client that we did what we contracted to do per our letter agreement, and we were paid in advance before we did the survey. Thank you very much. And then under category number 2, these are the folks that we actually spoke with in terms of parties and interest and the results. So we had 24 businesses favoring, 0 against, 156 residences favoring, 2 against, and we had 1 person that made a commercial usage objection, which is generally covered under Mobile versus Meyer, which is a case, and then a miscellaneous reason, but neither one of them applied to needs and desires. So if you look at the survey results in category number 2, for against for whatever reason, it's 98% favoring. And in the needs and desires category, it goes up modestly to 99%. Margin of error is 1%, so you can add it in, subtract it out, but it's well over 50. And the survey shows a need and a desire for a new hotel restaurant class of license. And that's all I have. Any questions?
I have a question. How do you determine how many businesses you're going to go to?
What we do is we take the major thoroughfares. Oh, I forgot to remark about that. So generally you'll see in blue the businesses that we went to, and then the pink areas are the residences that we surveyed.
But how do you determine in terms of number? Because you went to a whole lot more houses than you went to businesses.
I can generally say that businesses are about 14 to 22% of a defined neighborhood, so we just try to get a sampling that's representative of that, and then the rest of them are residences. And the residences are by far and away the majority of the parties and interest in the neighborhood. So, and maybe to further elaborate on that, a city block in the metropolitan area has approximately 17 housing units per block. So if you went all the way around the block, you'd have about 17 on average. So, and there are just quite a few more residences than there are businesses.
And how did you choose the houses that you?
We tried to do a geographical representation throughout the neighborhood, and you'll see that immediately adjacent to the outlet, both on the proposed outlet, both on the north and the south side of Littleton Boulevard, we wanted to survey those residences that were closest. And I might also remark, I'm pretty sure, this is hard for me to remember. You get old and you just don't recall. I think we originally licensed this building back in the mid to late 70s, and then I think we licensed it a second time. So I think this is the 3rd time, and I see Mr. Brandish nodding. So in that sense, we're not adding a new license to the neighborhood, though it's been closed for a while.
Just for the record, I'll note that the 2 residents that were against it, one was an alcoholic that says there's too many alcohol, and the other one was just opposed to alcohol because it causes crime, as noted in your records.
Correct.
Any questions from the authority?
I don't have any other questions.
Thank
sir.
you. Good evening. Nice to see you folks again. And the new people.
We'll probably see you again.
I hope so.
Mr. Gunya, you said you'd like to have,
Well, I would ask Mrs. Vick to come back down. I think we have heard from Mrs. Vick, we've heard from our manager, we've heard from the needs, the city or the surrounding areas at least. And I just didn't know if anybody else had any other questions for Mrs. Vick or?
I don't.
I do have another person here that's going to be managing the dining room. I didn't know if you wanted to talk to him. He has quite a bit of experience in the service industry.
Does he have experience in alcohol,
Yeah.
serving alcohol?
What will be the relationship between your two managers?
Well, we hired Perry because of his management experience, and he's going to be focusing in on inventory and that kind of thing. Isaac is, he's a little more service-oriented, so I didn't know if you wanted to talk to him, hear from him.
You could probably just tell us what his experience was.
Okay. He's worked for me for 2 years. He was my head server in Longmont. He's outstanding, and we brought him here to Littleton as a promotion. He's top-notch.
So he's going to be at Littleton full-time now, or?
Yeah.
And no longer at?
Right. He may turn it, the role may turn into district manager, but at this point, his focus will be on Littleton.
Does council have any questions?
I just need the spelling of his name.
Do you want me to?
Last name.
Isaac Gonzalez, G-O-N.
Speak in the mic, please.
G-O-N-S-A-L-E-Z. And then, I just had a question about, when I was reading through the agenda of, meeting the needs and desires of the community, and then also my moral character. And in the past, I've been asked to bring in letters of reference. I didn't know if, how you were going to judge me on my moral character. My thought was, well, I have 2 liquor licenses, and I haven't had any violations, so that kind of stands for my moral character. But I did look up the definition, and I thought it was a little amusing, so I just wanted to share that with you. The first 2, that I would not be a habitual drunkard, which obviously I'm not, or a prostitute. I'd just like to put on the record that neither of those are true.
That's a good point. Actually, there's enough information in your application that
Okay.
we look at your background, your police record, and we pretty much came to that conclusion
okay.
before
Just
you told
thought I
us that, but thank you
wanted to bring that
anyway.
up.
Yeah, we do, yes, we do look very definitely at your application and everything, and we look at the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, and since that has not returned yet,
Okay.
if we approve your license, it would be contingent upon it coming back and being favorable.
Okay.
If it would come back and be negative, and your character was not good,
I'd have questions about that, because I just went through one for Firestone, so haven't had any problems since, so I would assume that everything is fine.
Well, thank you for bringing that point up. Are there any other questions?
Nothing down here?
Thank you very much,
Okay,
Ms. Vick.
thank you.
Do we have any discussion among the members before we ask for a motion?
I don't have anything, do you guys?
This time, then, I would ask for a motion as to whether we suspend the hearing and approve or disapprove.
I will make a motion that the public hearing be closed and a resolution of the Littleton Licensing Authority be approved, which grants Delvecchio's Littleton LLC, doing business as Delvecchio's, 819 West Littleton Boulevard, Littleton, Colorado, a hotel and restaurant liquor license contingent upon approval from the Colorado Bureau of Investigation and the Colorado Liquor Enforcement Division, and based upon the following findings of fact. Number 1, that the needs of the neighborhood are not being met, and number 2, that it is the desire of the adult inhabitants of the neighborhood that the license be issued.
second.
Rochelle, would you poll the authority, please?
Authority Member Bradish?
Yes.
Authority Member Gunia?
Yes.
Authority Member Price?
Yes.
Authority Member England?
Yes.
Authority Member Odell?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Don't come back.
And good luck.
The next item of business on the agenda is item number 10B. Relish It LLC, doing business as Relishit, 5350 South Santa Fe Drive, Unit G. We have two persons to speak on this. First, I think we have some exhibits.
Exhibit A, waiver of hearing and objections to process by which neighborhood boundaries and public hearing dates are set. Exhibit B, affidavit of posting of premises. Exhibit B, proof of publication. Exhibit D, liquor authority communication with attachments. Exhibit E is the petition information. And you were just handed Exhibit F, which is the public hearing sign-in sheet.
Thank you. I move that we accept exhibits A through E.
A through F.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Did someone second it?
Second?
Thank you. Do we have a representative from Relishit that would like to speak?
Good evening. My name is Terry Sandrin. I'm the managing member of Relishit LLC. I will state for the record, I am neither a drunkard nor a prostitute also. My background is I was basically from Littleton. I'm Walt Whitman Elementary, Euclid Junior High, first graduating class at Heritage High. All-state football player, moved on, played college ball at several different places. While doing so, got into the restaurant industry. This is in the late 70s. Returned to Colorado, attended University of Colorado at Denver. While doing so, I once again got into the restaurant industry in order to make enough money to keep going through school. I was the bar manager, a bouncer, a bartender. I ran restaurants such as Cafe Giovanni, Cliff Young's, Strings, the Avenue Grill, several nightclubs at the day back in the 70s, which some of you may or may not remember. Nick's, The Proof, The Turn of the Century, things like that.
I'm afraid I do.
Me too.
I'm much too young to remember.
It's sad, isn't it? I know. After that, I got into the high-tech industry. I was involved with a company for the last 10 years which built satellite tracking systems to watch people on parole and probation, which should speak somewhat to my character. Our company sold a patent a few years ago. In doing so, I was looking to return back to the restaurant industry. Several people approached me. I had some concepts in mind which I had seen, specifically one in Southern California, which was a restaurant called the Burger Lounge. It serves a product called Tallgrass Farms grass-fed beef. It is truly the best hamburger you'll ever eat. It's lower in fat, higher in protein. It's absolutely delicious, totally grass-fed. Relish's menu will basically consist, its primary character food will be grass-fed beef hamburgers, grass-fed buffalo, brats, Italian sausage, homemade French fries, sweet potato fries. The desserts will be low-cal, things such as strawberry cheesecake, chocolate fudge bundt cake, root beer floats, and of course a $4.95 chocolate malt. By position at the company, will be managing member. Also, I will be on-site manager for at least the first year. The goal of the company is to build this into a franchisable concept. Once again, my familiarity with Littleton, we were looking at this for the last 15 months, kept trying to get a location that was over by ACC. That just simply didn't pan out. The fortunes were such that when Starbucks moved from the Riverbend location, I was approached by someone. I approached their owner, and we were able to strike a very, very strong business deal, which puts us in a good location over there. We will bring some concepts to it that people have not done with hamburgers before. There was a company you may or may not be familiar with in the Denver Tech Center called Options. Options delivers lunch. I started that company back in the late 80s. It was a different name. It was called Lunches by Design. I then sold that concept to the owners eventually who took over Options. Relishit will deliver hamburgers and we'll deliver them at night. We'll also deliver them at lunch to places like the Littleton City Hall, to Arapahoe County, within a predefined area. At some point, we will incorporate some of our satellite technology and come up with what's called SDS, Satellite Delivery Service, whereby you will go on your computer, see where your food is, and when it gets within a mile of your house, the computer will call you and tell you, write a check, your food's here. So as opposed to looking for your pizza and wondering where it is, you'll know. We may not instigate that at the beginning. There are some issues with our servers and some of the software, but that is an aspect we will bring to this. Our reason for wanting to bring liquor into it is, in effect, when you think of relish it, the concept was based on relish it the city of Littleton, relish your town, not just a condiment for a hamburger, but relish those things which are unique to your community. At some point inside the location, it is our intention we originally were going to do a mural of Littleton. Then we were going to do an aerial photograph of Littleton and those things which are unique to Littleton. We're talking to several photographers now. The photographs we were looking for weren't available. We may open without that, but there will be mural-type Colorado photographs on the wall, a setting which is somewhat clean, very high-tech, hardwood floors, a maple bar slashed with stainless steel, an overhead soffit which consists of stainless steel, maple, and stainless steel grids. The actual cooking facility will be directly behind the bar. There will be a hood located, and the other half on the right side will be bar area. So it'll be primarily 60% food, approximately 40% liquor in the preparation areas. 13 seats at the bar area. The actual restaurant itself will hold 65 seats. A small patio on the outside holds, at this stage, 16 seats, which will be railed in. I've talked to the city engineer. If we want to try and get more, we're going to have to petition the city. We didn't want to take the time to do that now, so we're just going to move ahead with what we currently have. Proposed opening date would be June 30th, depending on everything going well. There are no other relishits in Colorado. This will be the first one. We do not hold a liquor license anywhere else. Once again, I've stated my experience as a manager. Our people will be taking classes in liquor presentation, also in identification of phony IDs, incorrect IDs. Our policy is if they're not 35, if they don't look 35, they don't get liquor. If you confiscate an ID, you keep it. If an employee does something, serves liquor to someone who does not fit the criteria of a proper customer, they're terminated. End of discussion. Let me see what else I have here. We are primarily, our liquor will be served at the table. There is a bar area, but it's a waitress restaurant. If you've ever been to, there's a restaurant, right now, high-end hamburgers are hot. There's a place called Park Burger. There's a place called Lark Burger. There's all these different, it's above, I like to describe us as Red Robin on steroids. It's better food at a price point, which for Littleton, when you look at the Merles and you look at the Tavern and look at these places, it's a place you'll go in and get a basket with a grass-fed burger, the grass-fed will be a stainless steel basket, open-faced, sauce, different choices, white cheddar, all these different things you can add to it, different versions of it. Along with that, you can get, once again, hand-cut fries or sweet potato fries, get the whole thing for less than $10. So it meets a price point which I think is unique around here. Second thing is located at Riverbend. If you look at the demographic of the area, there really isn't our primary business is food. We're not primarily looking at liquor, but for an argument why we'd want to put liquor there, of the 6 restaurants currently located, none of them have a hotel restaurant liquor license. The new addition to the apartments right up the hill, and I can't believe I don't know their name, I did have it written down, but I forgot it, is within walking distance of several thousand people. And if they want to get a drink, they literally have to get in their car, go across the street to the Celtic pub or whatever it is over there. That's it. So for northern Littleton, I think we are actually serving a very important need. It's a restaurant that'll be the kind of place that's very family oriented. Because of the open parking over there, it serves our purposes very well because, frankly, most of the business of those restaurants happens at lunch. The rest of it appears to be a lot of takeouts. We have a very good-sized parking area, which is underutilized at night, which we could take advantage of. Our operating hours will be approximately 10:30 in the morning to 10 o'clock at night, 7 days a week. Lastly, once again, getting back to the need, it's this type of place that you'll walk into. You could come in there with your son, you could come in there with your wife, sit at the bar, eat a hamburger, have a drink, have a glass of wine, a pina colada, whatever, or watch one of the 4-screen TVs and see what the Broncos are doing, see what the Rockies are doing. Employees could, I don't think they do this, but employees from the city of Littleton or Arapahoe County could come over at lunch, see what's happening with the Final Four, all within walking distance. I realize you wouldn't drink, but you could have a Coke. That's it.
So it's a full bar? It's
Yes.
not just,
Yes, it is.
When you talk about burgers and that type of thing, it implies fast food. This sounds to me more like a sit-down, take
It is
your
it's a
time
sit-down.
and eat and have a drink
The current
Restaurant.
patterns across America with hamburgers are, people are very tired with Burger Kings, the McDonald's, you go in there and you pay $5 for a bad burger. What's happening now is you're getting a whole class of restaurants if you look at a fat burger or a smash burger, you're probably all familiar. They're growing like by leaps and bounds. There's 36 fat burgers in Colorado. It's a step above that. Once again, similar to a Red Robin, but it's the idea that it's a basket, which is very similar to what you may have had when we were all younger. But it's not a plastic basket, it's stainless steel, it's attractive. You sit down, it's more of the type of place where you'll sit down for half an hour or 45 minutes, sit down, look at the menu, have a drink, see what's on the game, order your dinner, eat your dinner, then have some dessert, maybe have something else, sit on the patio, it's got a beautiful view of the mountains, sit out and enjoy it at night, and maybe spend an hour there at the most. It's definitely not fast food. But because of the location and the demographics around us, we are going to cater very heavily to takeout and to delivery.
But all of your food is basically sandwich-type food.
All of our food is primarily hamburgers, about 6 different versions of that, buffalo, brats, Italian sausage, Italian beef. I don't know if you're familiar with that. On a big Italian roll, it floats in juice with green peppers and tomatoes. You'll like it. Our food it's tasty. But we'll also have things like a pesto pasta salad, which consists of artichoke hearts, olives, little baby tomatoes, all mixed in with pesto. It's delicious. A wedge of lettuce salad, which has both either blue cheese or Thousand Island. So we'll cover the gamut as far as different types of foods, but we are primarily a high-end hamburger, gourmet burger place.
With you as the salesperson, I don't see how it can fail.
I'm starved.
Every time we come in for an application here, the girl was taking our photographs and she's asking my partner, and she goes, "When are you opening?"
I guess the fact that I didn't have dinner before I came.
I know,
Yeah,
Makes me a little more.
I was going to say,
susceptible.
please stop. It sounds magnificent, and I haven't eaten.
Ernie Rose, whenever I meet with Ernie Rose to discuss stuff, we'll be talking about the engineering, and he's like, "Are you guys open yet?" Sounds tasty.
What is your plan for the patio? How will you separate it from the,
If you look at the design itself as it sits now, there's basically 2 transients that come out like this, and then there's an open area in the middle. The patio will be located directly in the center. There'll be a rail that fences it off. It'll keep the ADA guidelines so that you can still have passage through that. But it'll hold 4 umbrella tables, approximately 16 seats. We'd like to go a little bit to the west. There's some places there that if we were to take out a bush and there's create what's it called? I forgot when you have a passageway from one place to another. The point is, the trouble with going that way is there is something of a wind tunnel effect on Santa Fe. And as we start moving to the west, it knocks you down when you go out there. So you are sheltered being on that southern side between the 2 parts of the building that jut out. So for now, that's the patio. It's not the perfect location and size. It's only 1,809 feet. We were hoping for something bigger, but when it fell in our lap, we took it because it was just so advantageous. Why wouldn't we? And as a first location, the demographics are outstanding. There's 87,000 cars a day going down Santa Fe that will look at our sign. There's 12,000 cars a day going down Prince. So we've got this juncture of Santa Fe, Crestline, Prince, and Bellevue all coming to this commingling right there. I can't imagine a better place to put your first one.
Let me go back to your application.
All right.
There are 3 owners?
Yes, myself, a gentleman, I own 55%. A gentleman named Keith Terry is my primary partner. Keith is a chief training pilot for United Airlines. He's primarily our financial partner. And actually, he owns 36. It breaks down to that. I don't know what the actual percentages are at this, but the other guy is a guy named Phil Gurr, is a friend of mine. He lives in the Hamlet right up Bowles. And he sells MRI machines for Philips.
I was just interested also, when you listed them under the blocks, you listed yourself, you listed Keith, but then when it came to Phil,
To Phil,
you put him on a separate sheet.
It was confusing, and at the time we were wondering, I'm sorry, I have 60%, Keith has 35%, Phil only has 5%. So as a liquor license application, we didn't do it because as we read it literally, it seemed to us he would not appear on this.
Okay. And you mentioned that your bank account will be Colorado State Bank and Trust,
It's there now.
but you also said you're not a signer on the account?
No, I'm the only signer on the account.
Oh, okay, the application here says not a sign.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's a
I was just
Implies that he.
That's-
wondering who is Nan?
sign around the account. I'm it.
It also notes that you have a driver's license from where?
Colorado?
It says Nevada.
No, that shouldn't.
Ah,
I think I saw it.
Keith,
That's
you're right.
Keith. Okay, Keith may have that. Are you Rochelle?
I am.
Oh, nice meeting you. We've talked so many times.
You're right, very
I feel I
good.
know you.
You mentioned that this would be the first relish in Colorado.
Yes.
Does that imply there are
That'll be the
some?
first one in existence.
That's-
The goal would be to, if this takes off the way we hope it will, eventually kind of move up the Front Range, relish at Fort Collins, relish at Centennial, things like that. But that's getting the cart ahead of the horse a little bit. Our plan would be to obviously bring it to a point where we could replicate the system and move it along. But right now, this will be the flagship store.
Okay, I don't care about the name or how you picked it or whatever, but I will make note that there's a great hot dog stand on the corner in Chicago, Illinois, called Relish It.
Yeah, see, I'm not going to tell you the story. One of your city employees moved the letters around and came back with something which wasn't as complimentary. And pointed it out, and I was kind of like, boy, thank you for pointing that out to me. I really appreciate it. So this is actually something I should ask while I'm here. The name Relish It is the LLC. It's the corporate, and we have doing business as Relish It. But if we were to put on the sign, a Relish It Littleton, does that change the impact of the liquor license? Does it change who it's licensed to?
No,
So if we play around with that concept a little bit,
that is
or if you
true.
put Relish It grass-fed gourmet burgers, does it change it?
No.
Good. We were getting a little nervous.
Change your DBA, you have to file it with us, but
Okay. Okay.
You also noticed that, or noted that if the employee served somebody that they shouldn't, that they were gone and so forth and so on. But you realize that from a liquor license standpoint, it comes back to you.
Understand that. That's why they'd be gone. I'm a very no-nonsense type of individual. Our people will be well-trained. You know, the bottom line is there's no excuse. If you're using 35 as a criteria, there really is no excuse for serving someone underage. And if you have a question, I'm going to be around a lot, ask. It's not difficult. I mean, the bottom line is it is liquor, and because of its location, I'm not sure what the demographic of the clientele will be coming out of the apartments up there. I know I see the people, we've sat over there for weeks watching the people that come from lunch, and you get them from high school kids from Littleton High and Heritage to the people from the retirement community. But generally speaking, I think when these people start coming down from the apartments at night is when it's going to have to start being, not problematic, but we're going to have to just make very, very sure that, you know, who are we serving out here? And we'll make very, very sure that those people, the people I'm bringing on as waitresses and primarily waitresses, will have to be experienced. This isn't something where we're going to bring someone's 22-year-old kid who just got out of college and are looking for a summer job. They need to know what they're doing.
How many people are you going to employ?
That's a good question. We changed our concept. The concept was originally going to be very smash burgerish. You walk in and there's a big menu on the wall, but to be honest with you, research shows if you walk in and order food off a wall, you don't eat or drink as much because as you're standing and reading it, another family just came in behind you. So you look at your kids and go, come on, let's go. We got to go. It makes you uncomfortable. So we just literally changed to the waitress concept about a month ago. So now we're probably looking at running a staff on a daily basis of myself, an expediter, 2 cooks. On weekends, a bartender. I will do some bartending myself too, just because I will, because I want to. And then probably 3 waiters. The restaurant breaks into quadrants very nicely. One to the east, one to the west, and also then the main bar itself and the patio. So you're looking at, I'm thinking employability-wise, 18 to 20 people.
Now, on the needs of the community, are you going to present the results or somebody else?
I believe my representation is going to do that.
Are there any other questions for this witness?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You seem to be Carol Johnson.
I'm
Is
Carol
that correct?
Johnson with Esquire Petitioning Services. We've been here before. but since there are new people, I'll just go through real briefly. We meet at the location so that the petition circulators know where the location is, have the clipboard with the map, with the location, the boundaries, the hearing date. They are informed of the type of restaurant it's going to be, as well as the location. And our petition sheet had an opportunity for them to sign for, against, or in a neutral position.
Could you?
I'll ask you to speak up a little bit, please.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry. The petition sheets that were circulated had an opportunity to sign for, against, or a neutral position. And we also have the data sheets to have further remarks that were made to the circulators, especially in regards to any opposition. We did a total, excuse me, of 444 door knocks, of which 159 people signed the petition. 15 declined to sign the petition. There were 21 ineligible contacts, and 266 people did not answer their door. We had 126 residents and 32 businesses, for a total of 158, sign in favor of the petition for 99.3. We had no signatures in opposition of the petition, and we had one resident sign as a neutral position. So the results on the needs of desires eliminates that one neutral position, and we have 158 in favor, 0 in support, in opposition, for 100% in favor of the issuance of the liquor license. Any questions?
I would make note that other businesses in the area, 11 of the managers signed for it, and 8 of the owners signed for it. None of them signed against it according to the petition submitted here.
Right. Depends on the type of business, whether, you know, you have a lot of the smaller businesses in this neighborhood, so we do find some owners. Some neighborhoods, it's very difficult to find an owner because of the more big box type stores. So, but when we try to start at the location and radiate out with our petitions. I know that was one of the questions you asked the other.
The apartments to the northeast that he referenced, I don't see them on the map here that anyone was petitioned in there. Is there a reason for that? Or am I reading the map wrong?
We always do things the closest, and so we try to do the different quadrants, but we didn't go that far away. We did the condos and apartments right across the street, and the entire neighborhood from Prince East to Main Street, all of those houses, and the houses and the apartments that were just east of Prince Street. And at that point, we had the necessary numbers that we had contracted for and normally satisfy the needs. We'd always work closest and then radiate out for both the residents and businesses. Those are the people that are the most affected in most cases. The further away you get, the more times we have people at the door that just say not interested. Because they
I don't have any other
Question?
Thank you.
Okay.
I don't believe I had any further questions. Would anyone else?
Discussion?
Yes.
Any discussion?
I think it's time to make a motion, one way or the other. Do I have a motion?
Me again? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll move that the public hearing be closed and a resolution of the Littleton Licensing Authority be approved, which grants Relish It LLC, doing business as Relish It, 5350 South Santa Fe Drive, Unit G, Littleton, Colorado, a hotel and restaurant liquor license contingent upon approval from the Colorado Bureau of Investigation and the Colorado Liquor Enforcement Division, and based upon the following findings of fact. Number one, that the needs of the neighborhood are not now being met. Number two, that it is the desire of the adult inhabitants of the neighborhood that the license be issued.
I will second the motion. Rochelle, would you poll the authority, please? Yes.
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 Good luck.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good luck, and we hope to see you, but not here.
One thing, I was going to ask this without sounding really
Would you-
interrupting anybody. As
would you
we,
come-
sorry.
Come down to the mic, please, it'd be appreciated.
We plan on doing some soft openings, which are like parties. If we invite people from the city of Littleton, that's not like a conflict of interest, is it? Or can you have a hamburger, or?
It would be, I may very definitely have a hamburger, but I will very definitely pay for it, too.
I think the
He'll be
city
paid for
attorney
all
has
of
an
it.
opinion.
Okay, we didn't know what the rules were, but basically, we'll have some openings where contractors and people who are within the area and within the community are invited in, and we'd like to invite some of
Just to
you.
make it perfectly clean, we will pay for our burgers.
I'll deliver them to you personally.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good luck to you. You have, I think you want to make a statement about that,
No, that's not uncommon, and that's.
because I know you
what
have a
they
position on it.
Right.
Oh,
As long as we're invited.
Excuse me?
I'm kidding. As long as the city attorney's office is invited, I said.
I didn't want to get a free
We had
burger.
that come up one other time, and I remember we got an email from you. I don't believe there are any other items on the agenda before we get to item 15. Do we have reports from the staff?
To remind the board that you have that meeting with City Council on June 14th at 7 PM. So I'll
Is
be
everybody
sure to
gonna be
remind you when
available
we
for
get
that?
closer, but-
We have two members that aren't going to be there. Is
Actually,
that
actually, we have 3 members that will not be available,
Oh, really?
I believe.
Who are the 3 that are not available?
Andrews?
No, I'll be at the study
Oh,
session.
that's right.
I
I'm
just won't be
sorry.
at the previous meeting.
Okay.
Next meeting.
May I ask you a question? My representation doesn't know the answer, so I have to ask. She wasn't my attorney. My attorney's sick, so
Oh.
she was her assistant. The issuance of a liquor license, how does it now take place? If we satisfy the criteria of the Colorado Division, or Bureau of Investigation, are we notified, or does it just come to us in mail, or
Send it to the state. When they approve it, I'll let you know.
you know how?
I can't issue it until you're open. And you
Oh.
have all your certificate of occupancies and
Okay.
all the departments say it's open.
Generally speaking, is there a time frame you think on, from this point on?
If you're looking at opening in June, you'll be fine.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, let's check with the.
Yeah, who will not be present?
At
Earl?
the, wait a minute, at the study session.
Yeah,
I will not be. I will
We
be,
have a regular meeting on the 8th of June, and that's the one you said you can't
Right,
make.
I won't be there on the 8th.
And I can't make that one either, the 8th of June. But I will be at the study
Study
session.
session's Tuesday, June 14th.
and everybody can make that, with the exception of Earl?
I will not be at the study session.
Rest of us will be there.
I'll send you a reminder.
And the regular meeting, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I'm sure we'll have a quorum.
New license for that night, so you'll have a meeting.
Anything, any authority members would like to bring up?
Whatever happened on the marijuana to the, what's the one over in Arapahoe?
Canamart.
Yes.
Well, actually, the district court, Judge Hannon, issued an order dismissing the constitutional claims, so, which also means that the damages claims are gone that were brought against the city or asserted against the city. The only remaining claim now is a 106 claim, which is a review of the licensing authority record. That's pending before the district court. And once the plaintiffs certify the record, which we're told they're going to do anytime, that should be on a pretty expedited schedule. Courts aren't under any obligation to get it done quickly, but because Judge Hammond issued such a quick order on the constitutional claims, once that case was assigned to him, I'm hopeful that that will get resolved as quickly as the constitutional claims did. So right now, they're still operating without a state license. Without a state license. They have an application pending, but they don't have a state license because that is contingent on the local license.
Thank you.
I have a question. Twice now, I'll be frank, I'm not quick enough to catch it. When the petitions are presented to us as an exhibit as to who is signed, this is the second time since I've been on the board that there has been signatures gained outside of the defined area. That is awful hard. My compliments to Authority Member Cole and Tony Gallagher once before caught the fact that signatures had been done outside a boundary area while you are sitting and trying to pay attention to the testimony being given and just presented the exhibits. It is an awful difficult thing to make that kind of determination. Is there any possible way that we could get that information in our packets?
It's not submitted to us that early.
Okay.
We usually get
It's
it.
not available to the city, period, until they
Typically,
present.
they only do it like a lot of times, 2 weekends before, and then it's submitted to us by the Friday before. I tell them they have to have it to me no later than Friday because I have to be able to copy it and have it ready, but sometimes they're flying in on Monday and bringing it to me.
This last package we had, the relish it, there were actually 2 in there that was outside the boundary, and they were noted that they were outside the boundary and deleted in the computation.
Yeah. I know the case you're talking about, and I acknowledge that can be a problem because in the first place, how do you recognize some of these addresses as being outside the city? Every place has got Littleton for a mailing address, whether it's in Littleton or not, and it's really hard to tell. I think Tony Gallagher had an unusual understanding of where places were to be able to spot that, but we're just going to have to work around that, I think.
Yeah, I just do a quick scan of the address of the street mainly,
Yeah, I do too, and
and if I see a street that jumps out at me, and then, yeah, otherwise it's,
I think the other thing that's kind of strange is when they're talking about the needs of the neighborhood and everything, they don't go to the other restaurants most of the time that are serving alcohol. And that was why I was asking those questions about how you determine whether it's a business or not. And certainly on the first application, they didn't go, for example, to Romano's.
And the second, Il Vicino.
I'm sorry?
And the second one, Il Vicino, wasn't
Yeah.
on there.
Which they do have a liquor license, and that's in.
And I mean, I suppose when you're looking at the needs of the neighborhood, certainly they should be looking at the other outlets as businesses to see. Do you know what I
Yes.
mean?
would you expect the other businesses?
I don't
to
know.
say-
I don't, you know, the
I wouldn't.
definition of needs of the neighborhood is so elastic that, I mean, if you're
My
knocking on
interpretation
doors-
of that is the needs of people who would want to go there. And
I guess
if you own a bar and restaurant down the street, you probably would not.
Well,
go here.
to the credit of the second guy, there were, Opus was on there and some other, taverns and stuff were on there. The first one, it was like Miracle Carpet Cleaner, things like that.
Well, and I would say if they included everyone who had a liquor license and those people said no, that wouldn't weigh on me to not want to grant them the license. But I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But I would take that with a grain of salt.
yeah, I
Yeah,
understand.
it would be nice if they all included all the businesses in the area, and then we would make a
Make a
judgment call
determination, right.
whether that other restaurant is a valid
but I agree
no
with,
vote or not.
I agree with you, Bill, that we're looking at the needs of the neighborhood And so we're looking at the people who would be going in or would want to go into the restaurant.
Yeah.
And that's our primary focus, not whether or not the other restaurants are objecting or agreeing, whatever, because I doubt if Romano's, he's going to be going over here to eat.
You never know.
Never know.
Is that it for the authority questions? In that case, I'm going to call this meeting adjourned.